Hey, hello and welcome. Welcome. It's me again, and it's RPA Fridays session number 8. And today's topic is super powerful automation, 5 times faster execution using recursive workflows. So I hope you are ready for it. So let's start. I will start with brief introduction, something about me. My name is Roman, and I'm part of the Robot ICT family, where we love to automate every process possible. Some quick info about us. We are a Czech Republic-based company focused on automation in different kind of industries. We do this by mostly using RPA, which is Robotic Process Automation, but we also have our own workflow automation software, which is more specialized on networks, data centers, and large IT environments. So if you want to know more about Robot ICT, our academy, our community, all links are in the description below. So, and if you will enjoy this webinar, please give us a like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to us. So let's start with it. RPA Fridays, like this session, like any other session, will be a not really long webinar where I will showcase some piece of RPA technology, so some example demonstration, and I will not go really deep into the theory. So in the end, there is a time for your questions. This time, I would love to encourage you to type in comments ideas for next RPA Fridays, maybe some topics that you would love to hear about, and maybe you would love to know more, something related to RPA, of course. And I will try to find a interesting one of the topic and prepare something. So please, I want to invite you to type in comments what are your ideas. So let's start. What I will show you today. Today I will show you the demonstration of how can robot work on more than one item at once. So imagine you have a robot and the robot is working on something, and usually this something is divided into some parts which we call items in general. This can be, I don't know, one email or one order or one client or one document. So I will show you how you can actually build a robot that can work on more than one item at once. And I will also tell you when it is possible to use it and when you unfortunately cannot use this way of doing. So let's start with a little, going a little bit deeper into what I prepared and what I will show you, how I will, what I will demonstrate live. So the goal is to, okay, so I have a little process here in UiPath where nothing really special is happening. The process involves also orchestrator a little bit. It's not in framework yet, but it involves queues from orchestrator, which is a cloud platform for storing and monitoring the transactions, or the items, transaction items, which are the single items for the robot to process, right? So this process will get a transaction item from the queue and performs a check if there is any item, if it's not empty, if the result of this activity is not empty. Open a browser for some weather history. We can actually take a look at it. And in this browser, it will enter details from the queue, which will be location, city, some date, and we'll click view. So these are the activities. I just briefly put them here. So it clicks. There are no screenshots. Sorry. And then it do some data extractions and maybe something else. This is just for demonstration purposes. So I have small workflow, few clicks, one small extraction within a browser window, and this is something important, that it's a browser window. And then in the end, I set the transaction status to successful and close the tab. So maybe now you're asking, where are my transaction items? How do I create them? I will show you. In the orchestrator, which is this thing, I have a queue that I called Fridays 08. And here you can see that I already tried something. So I have some transaction items here that are already successful. And each transaction item comes from the input file, which looks like this. It has only 6 or 7 rows. And these are the data that the robot will fill in the form, fill on the website. So this is pretty clear, I believe so. Only way, though, I will show you how I will actually load the queue, how we add new items here, because for this I'm also already ready prepared. I created a really simple workflow with activity to read range from the input file, and then pretty recent activity bulk add queue items, which only you can supply a data table, and it will add all the data from the data table in the queue. So I will run it to load the queue, so we have something to work on, and I will show you how the process works. So far I'm just getting you familiar with how the things around are working. So what's my demonstration about, and then I will show you how the multiple run works. So I will refresh it, and let's see, I have about 7 new transaction items here. I can click view details and check all the data inside. So it's an object of some city, day, month, year with some data, and I can take this and work with it, which is super cool because in cloud I can monitor it, and multiple robots can eventually work on it from different machines, and so on and so on. So it's like a centralized storage of what is to be done. So I showed you how to that I added to queue. I don't need this file yet because we will work in it, and this is just like a single item processing. So I put a delay here of 6 seconds. It's not really necessary, but later I will explain why. It will be just for demonstration purposes. So now I want you to show how it works. It will open the browser. So far just one, but don't worry, stay watching and we'll get to it. It will open the browser, wait 6 seconds, enter the one of the item data, click view, and it will take some seconds and gives us some result, which we won't see, and it will finish with closing the browser itself. Yeah, good. So this was one transaction item. So now if I refresh Orchestrator, I see that another one is successful a few seconds ago. I just show you a little piece of how framework actually works. So this is really cool. So now let's think about it, how to do it, how to run it, and we will use the benefit that this goes in a simple way, that it opens a browser window, and then all the activities are performed within the browser window. So they are always related to that particular window that has been opened by UiPath, which is super beneficial because the selectors to these fields are having the title of the window already included, and I can't change it. So it means it belongs to that window, which is cool because it will definitely not type into another window because it has already remembered, okay, I opened that window, now I work within that window, and I will not, if there will be more windows with the same name opened, it will only work with that exact one that it has been opened by UiPath. Okay, so far simple, right? So how to actually implement this to work in, let's do it for 4 windows at once from the beginning, but you can imagine 5 also, we can also set up 5. Using recursive workflow, recursive function. Recursive in programming jargon is something where we put content of something in itself. So something within, I have a piece of code which executes itself. Yeah, like a function inside a function that runs the function, and so on and so on. Of course, we have to prevent it from going into creating infinite tree of another function running in a function. This is necessary unless this will crash. And I will show you how to do it. So I have the process here in this file. I have a blank main over there, and I will create one more sequence that I will call, let's say, run. Okay, that's pretty nice. And in this run sequence, I want to define 2 arguments, a run workflow, sorry, because I will need arguments for this to work. First argument will be count, which will in future count how many parallel sessions I have opened, and another one is called will be called, I will call it max, like maximum parallel, just to have some number to compare. If we have not open too many windows, okay? Because if you open too many windows, then eventually, if you have a not really strong computer, it can crash. So this is necessary. And to finish the part with the main, which will be only containing the run workflow that I just created, I will put it there, import the arguments, and fill in these details. So count, this is a counter, and we will begin at 0. And maximum parallel, so this will be 4, okay? Oh, okay, let's put it 5. I promised 5, it will be 5. Good. So these are my initial values. I hard code them now here. Of course, you can save them in config, whatever. And I click OK. And this is where I ended with main. And now I will work with run. And in the run file, I will definitely need few activities that you maybe already know. The crucial one is called parallel. And this brings us to the point of doing something in parallel execution. So what I want to do in the parallel activity is activity is to, on the one side, do what I want. So work with the transaction item, and on the other side, to run one more session of it. You may think that this is maybe too complicated, and I can easily just put in the main workflow also the parallel activity and put 4 another workflows so they execute in parallel. But of course, if I then want to change the amount of parallel sessions and I would experiment with that, then I will have to just delete them or add them and so on. So what I wanted to show you, and also this is like a cool thing to see how recursive functions work, is the way how I will do it. So a parallel function. First of all, I need to check on the right side if, on the right side I will have another execution of itself. So this will be the recursion. And I have to check, and I will rename it if it's not opened too many times. So for this, I will need actually one more step in the beginning as a first thing, and that will be the incrementation of the counter. Increment counter. And make sure to give nice descriptive names to your assign activities and another activities that repeat. So if something crashed, you know where it crashed. So you can read in the error message. So count, and that's the argument, and count plus 1. Yeah, I can work with the value from the incoming argument easily as that. So I want to make sure that count is smaller than max parallel. So if this is still less than the maximum I want to open, then I will invoke one more the same file. So in the run.xaml, I put one more run.xaml. And I click import arguments, and now I will paste here the same name of the arguments as I already have, and they are all direction in because they are not going out. I don't need to give them out because I'm just going deeper in the same file. Anyways, so I will fill only count here and max parallel. So this will be just forwarded. Yeah, forwarded. That's a good word. And on the left side, I will put my process. So it's ready there. I can actually copy it like this and put here. Okay. Ooh, no, I'm not sure if. Yeah, okay. It's good. Only I talked about left side, right side. I like it like this. So let me just switch this. So on the right side, and now it's getting a little bit more wider. And now we are usually the workflow is long and it's like long vertical noodle, and now it's getting a little bit horizontal with the parallel activity. So now on the left side, I have my process. So let's think about it. What will happen? And then we need to adjust it a little bit because this will only run once and that it will end. Well, eventually it will open for Windows and then this is over. But I want in this moment to keep performing the processing, to keep processing until there is no transaction item. So the condition here is good, but I will need another different activity, which will be while. So it loops until something. Come on, while. good. And I will use the same condition like is in the if here. Okay, good. So let's also give it a name. So while there is still what to work on, that means there are still items in a queue. Okay, good. And now let's do a little change. Take this open browser thing, cut, paste in this body, and just that it's nicer, I will collapse all the open browser thing because I'm sure this works as I want. And I will delete the empty if activity. So what will happen on the left side will be that I'm getting new item from a queue, then performing certain actions, which that they end with in the end of this is setting the transaction status to successful. Okay, this is quite easy. But in the end, then I want to actually check if there is no queue item. So I have to repeat this get transaction item once again. Okay, now when I think about it, maybe there is a way how to improve it by using, no, I believe this is, okay, if you know a way how to improve it, maybe to avoid two activities of get transaction item, then please, I welcome your ideas. Still, I'm not an expert at all. I'm learning every day something new, so you should also, because the technologies are going forward really fast. And so far it's a little bit boring because you of course want to see it, how it works and what it will do. And now we're getting to the moment where I will explain you why I put these 6 seconds of delay and why exactly 6. Okay, it's just like a number I created out of nothing, out of nowhere. But just what will happen when I will run it now? Hopefully, maybe there will be a little error I will need to tune because it can happen. I try to tell you some interesting information. Maybe I did some small error. There are 6 seconds, so I can a little bit arrange the browsers, so you'll be able to see how the robot works within all the browsers at once. So now let's hold your breath and hold me a thumb, and I will run the main workflow. And there are enough transactions. There are 6 transactions, so in 2 of the 4 browsers, it should repeat twice. Depends what browser will be fastest. Yeah, fastest. So let's run the file and let's see what it will do. Now I will still do some little things over there. Once it will start to open browsers. Okay, I have this browser over there, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I want to quickly just rearrange them to the corners. And it's fine because all of the activities are actually what is it? Yeah, okay. Okay, I will not try to arrange it once more, but you can see there are 4 browsers that they just opened, and the robots are working in them and extracting the weather. And once they are done, in some of the browsers there will be one more try, or it will open another browser actually, and in some of them will not open again. So let's see, because it will go slow. I hope my connection is now good, and hope the computer will be fine. And okay, cool. I have a issue here, issue there. Okay, what is the problem? Let's troubleshoot with me. Type into city. Could not find the UI element corresponding to the selector history search. Okay, so on one of these, okay, now it gets tricky. One of these browsers, there is an issue, and it could not find it. Okay, let's try it once more, and I will not really disturb it, and I will tell you meanwhile something interesting. Let's see if we have enough transactions. Probably no. I will need to. Okay, they are stuck in progress, and now you probably start to understand what is a pitfall of all of this. And of course, it's hardware, and it can be that it means that you have to troubleshoot 4 things at once. Anyways, let's add few more items to queue. And let's see a second try, because I tried it before I start, and it was working just fine. So I will not touch anything right now, and I hope the connection will be still good. because it's telling me that it's not really the best one. But sorry for that. This is a live stream and things are as they are. So sorry for that. And I will try to run it once again and let's see what it will do. And I will not touch anything. I will just leave it running. Apparently some of the position was remembered. So there are 4 browsers and something is 5. Okay, I promised 5. 5 of them. Yeah, because I put the number 5 there. And something is happening in them. And apparently, maybe you will see me now a little bit worse, worse quality. But, I mean, I believe you will get my point. So, okay, so now 2 browsers were closed, and there are another 2 because there were seven items to process, and they start to do something. Yeah, it's true that I tried it before with 4 of them. But anyways, some of the browsers are already closing in the background and it looks good. Okay. So of course, my system is a little bit slowed down because I have the OBS and I'm streaming and so on. So even though it's quite powerful, the browsers are actually the browsers consume a lot of memory and a lot of CPU. But this was actually successful, and I also have some simple logs here. So this is what I wanted to show you. Now think about some of the process that you might want to automate, and think about if this is applicable or not. You can eventually use the parallel activity, this one, in a way of putting 2 same workflows in it, maybe 2 or 3, and uh, do something in parallel. But what I did here was a little bit experimental, and you probably won't find it in any manual or any how-to. But I found it interesting, so that's why I wanted to share it with you. And I believe that it was a little bit interesting for you. But now let's take a look at the advantages and disadvantages in the last minutes. And meanwhile, you can also shout some questions on me if you have any. And I prepared some slide about possible problems. So first of all there are, sorry for the typo, there are hardware limits to this. So as you saw, my computer, there was nothing much faster about it. Okay, in this particular thing, it just runs everything in parallel. So you might think, how is it faster if you do it all at once? Because in the end, you have to use the same amount of work, amount of CPU, let's say, work to achieve the result. And it's true. It can get in some processes the same. But imagine you have a process where you don't use the hardware at 100%. You're, for example, checking on something or waiting somewhere, or there is a long time till the server responds, or you are maybe checking something regularly at some item until something. There are some delays that are not taking any hardware, any CPU performance from your computer or from the virtual machine. In this way, this can work easily. So, but there are another limits if you actually are if you want to just perform more requests at once by a robot, and you, for example, requesting something from a website or from a server. Most of the servers or most of the websites are protected against DDoS attacks, which this is a little bit what we are doing. We are trying to simulate that, like, we have 4 computers and 4 computers are sending requests and sending questions. So some of the servers will not like it because There is one general rule for a stable automation, is that to make it work nice, it's quite good that you are equally or a little bit same speed as a human, because the systems that we automate, because RPA is running on the top of it, are made for humans. So there are delays, and they don't count with super fast clicking and super fast typing and super fast sending. Some of them are protected because they are counting with robot attacks, but some of the systems can eventually crash if you put too many requests to them, from some particular system. So this is another thing. And then, of course, this can work only if you have one or maybe two. If you're really clever or cool, you can handle all the applications. Or if you have, it's ideal for processes where you're working with one browser or one application. So when you use in a UiPath open application scope, and then you work within the application, and you can open the application a few times, like terminal applications or I don't know, anything, then it's fine. But if you have, I don't know, many applications, and you also at the same time want to save data, for example, to Excel sheet, and then there is a risk that more of these parallel processes will try to, for example, write in the same file at the same time, and this can bring you a little problems, which are you can overcome, but it's still a possible problem. Then also, this is not possible to do if you need not non-simulated actions. If because in my project, in all of the type into activities, so there's just one actually, I pushed simulate, checked simulate type to true. So then there is no need to move my mouse, and this means that this all can run in the background. So it's ideal for a background automation, but if there will be need of real clicking, then it can happen that this will be not really stable. So actually, maybe I'm showing you something that doesn't have so much benefits, but I believe this can be useful maybe in some small applications, or maybe some part of the larger scope, where you maybe just found out for the first time there is a parallel activity where you can do things in parallel. And this can be anything, of course, any kind of activities. Anyways, now is soon time for your questions. And maybe you have this question that I have. Why to do it like this if UiPath allows us to run multiple robots at the same time? Well, first of all, robot doesn't UiPath assistant. We can run from the UiPath assistant 2 or 3 robots at once, but not of the same process. So you would have to create few processes with the same content or same functions, and then run them simultaneously. And then, of course, you can do it if you want, but performing one same action, it's easier to do it like this. You can, if you're cool, you can mount it to framework quite easily, and can be just fine. And maybe another question is, what would be the use case for this? So, for example, where I personally used this was a process where there was a database full of number plates, and number plates of cars, and there was some kind of public system website of a government, where once you put a plate in the system, it retrieves owner or registration number or something. Okay, and the customer wants to have every week report of all the number plates, and these are not all the number plates in the universe, but the customers in the customer's database. So in that case, I tried this, and it was working fine. But, and also this is a lesson to learn, the website was protected. So the time that I thought that I'm faster and I'm doing more requests on the website, in the end, it always once upon, let's say, once per 10 requests, it gives equivalent delay of if I would just do it one by one. So the website just refused to load until I waited some seconds. So, well, interesting example. I hope you like that. And now is space for your questions. And I'm looking at the chat, and I will wait a little bit because there is a little latency, a little delay. And that's it. So until there are no questions, I would love to inform you, I would like to thank you for your attention. I hope you learned something. I hope you maybe have a question, maybe you want to ask something, maybe you're curious about some interesting sphere or interesting area of RPA or automation. So please feel free to ask in comments, share this video, like this video, subscribe, and this will mean a lot to us. And also, I would like to invite you to our Robot ICT community forum, which is the RPA forum, and we also publish, or I publish every week, a new RPA challenge where you can compete with your RPA skills. And that's it. I hope you liked RPA Fridays. If you're watching this from randomly from you just come across from you on YouTube, you know that I would love to tell you that RPA Fridays are there every week, every Friday, and you can sign up to them so you know in advance what's the topic by clicking the link under the video. All the important links are under the video. So as there are no questions yet, I hope it was good and my image was smooth.